Good evening, welcome to Robert's Reading Room and Reviews. I'm here to drop another wonderful book I just got through reading. I would like to give you my review. I hope everyone is doing great this evening. I would just like to say, first of all, I believe that I'm becoming more and more of an avid reader. My first love, I must say, is street urban lit, but I'm branching out to learn how to read different genres. And I think that's, it's good because I'm finding new love amongst different authors. And the book I'm just now reading, I just finished reading rather, is my first time reading a book by him. I have seen like maybe two of his movies that was made from the book into a movie. And I'm talking about no other than Mr. Nicholas Sparks, The Best of Me. And when I tell you this was a wonderful book that I actually really started reading it Tuesday and I finished today. Today is Friday. Um, I really enjoyed it. It's about the main character is like named Dawson Cole. It starts out with him on an oil rig in New Orleans. There's this big explosion, and unfortunately, some of his crewmen wind up, losing their life. He suffered a concussion, and he wound up dealing with the company and receiving a settlement. He didn't want to do a lawsuit, so he goes back to his trailer. At first, I didn't like his character because I felt like he was very miserable. He hated everybody, didn't have no friends, were very antisocial, antisocial. I'm sorry, and he just, didn't want to deal with anyone. But as you read the book, you learn out why he is the way he is. He gets a phone call from an attorney by the name of Tanner, letting him know that he's lost a good friend of his who passed away. So he goes back home to Tanner, North Carolina, and it's a small town in North Carolina. And he really doesn't want to go back to the funeral because he don't want to see his family. And at first you wonder why he don't want to see his family. And as you read, the Cole family is a dark, dark family. I mean, his father is awful. His mother actually left him with his father because she just couldn't deal with all the criminal activity that his family was about. I mean, I'm not talking about just stealing, breaking. I'm talking about they murder people and nothing's been done to them or anything. So he goes back for the funeral and everything because he's in the will. He gets back home, and once he gets back home, he flies and then he rents a car to get home. He goes back to Tuck's house, who his friend who's passed. Tux is an older man who took him in, after his father was beating him and trying to make him do criminal activities, which he did not want to participate in. So Tuck works on cars. So he wound up sleeping in Tuck's garage, and he lets them do it. Tuck has a wife who was named Claire, who unfortunately died. So he goes to the house that Tuck's living in, and when as a robber, he sees a lady, and it turns out to be his one and only true love, Amanda. And Amanda, this is taking place 20 years after they was in high school. They're high school sweethearts. Amanda's mother and father had money, and unfortunately, they didn't want her with him, and they really pushed it. They didn't want them together. So he felt that, I guess because of the criminal activity, the murders and everything that was taking place, that, it was best to let her go, you know. So he wound up telling her he didn't want to be with her and all of this. So she leaves, go off to college because she was willing to give that up because she was truly in love with him. So he wound up, letting her go. And she, unfortunately, she wound up marrying this man by the name of Frank. And he's a dentist. And they get married. They've been married 20 years. They have three kids, Jared, Lynn, and Annette. But they also have problems in their marriage because before Annette was born, she had a baby girl named Bree who unfortunately had cancer and died. And so I know people deal with death in different situations, but her husband, he dealt with it in alcohol. So he wound up becoming an alcoholic, and he just, and I think some of it too was because he felt like she wasn't in love with him, like really in love with him. She loved him, like in, I guess you could say, in a caring way, but she wasn't in love with him. Her heart belonged to Dawson, and I guess he could sense that he really was in love with her, You know, they was having issues because he was drinking and everything. But she wound up connecting back with Dawson that weekend that she came for the funeral and the reading of the will. Now, Dawson has two cousins, one named Ted and the other one is Abri. I'm going to pronounce that. That's the way it looked like it said, but I don't know if it's pronounced right. Abee. Bad news. Just all the way around the bad news. There was a point when he was living with Tuck Dawson that his father came with Ted, and you know his father was like, "Give me the money," because he was getting money working with Mister Tuck. So he wound up giving his money to his father. But this last time, he got fed up. He said he wasn't gonna give his money to his father, you know, because his father felt like you owe me because you left the house and you're not doing nothing criminal, you're not helping me, so you're gonna give me the money. So he wound up beating his father down and beating Ted down too. So when they found out he was in town for Mr. Tuck's funeral, that was their main mission. Ted and his cousin Albie to get revenge on him because he beat him up real bad and everything. This book was very well written. I love a well written book where there's no typos. You have to like figure out what is this author, what is this word, what is this word. I mean, the author's writing the book. I feel like they should, you know, have a good editor to know, say, hey, you need to, what do you mean by this word? Not the reader have to figure out what the word is. But it was a very well written book. Actually, I went and bought another book by him yesterday. That's how much I was intrigued. I saw The Notebook, the movie. I haven't read it, but I do have it. And I realized when I did a search on him, Notebook has a sequel called The Wedding Plan. That's a sequel to it. So I got both of those books. I also seen Dear John, The Vow. Um, I haven't seen this book, The Best of Me. Oops. But I do plan on checking it out sometime soon. Um, I just want to say it was a well written book, and it was released in March 26, 2013. It consists of pages of 291 pages. So it was a quick, good read. I would just like to say thanks for checking out my YouTube channel, Robert's Read Room and Reviews. If you haven't subscribed, please do share this video. I would just like to say, I'm not going to say good night. I'm going to say, I'm going to read on. Have a great weekend.